Eala blows chance to advance, loses in semis at ASB Classic. Manila, Philippines. Eala blew a golden opportunity to reach the ASB Classic Women's Singles Final on Saturday in Auckland, New Zealand. Riding high after pulling off a stunning opening set comeback, Eala was serving for the match, but only to cough up a 5-3 advantage in a 7-5, 5-7, 4-6 loss to China's Wang Xinyu. Eala bucked a poor start, rallying from a 1-5 deficit to take the first set. She looked well on her way to a title round appearance in the WTA 250 event before Wang strung up 8 consecutive games to extend the match and zoom to a 4-0 advantage in the decider. The 20-year-old Eala received a medical timeout, trailing 0-3 in the third set. She returned to the court and mounted one last rally down 1-5 again. Unfortunately for the Filipino rising star, Wang stayed composed this time and held on to set up a final date with either Elena Svitolina of Ukraine or Iva Jovic of the United States. Wang, who was once ranked as high as number 32 in the world back in October 2023, delivered 6 aces in the second set alone. It's been a hectic ASB Classic campaign for Eala, who also made the doubles semifinal with Jovic. The two, however, faltered against the third-seeded Chinese pair of Yifan Su and Zhao Xinyang, 5-7, 3-6 on Friday. Eala was on a roll heading into her duel with Wang after a quarterfinal sweep over Poland's Magda Linette in the quarterfinal also on Friday. A point that slipped away, Eala and the semifinal that taught more than it took. The stadium at Auckland did not fall silent all at once. It exhaled instead, one long breath shared by the crowd, the ball kids, the officials, and by Eala herself. On the hard court of the ASB Classic, the moment was over before it could be held. A rally ended, the scoreboard blinked, and the chance to advance slipped quietly into the New Zealand evening. For Eala, the semi-final was never just a match. It was a doorway. She had walked into the tournament carrying more than a racket and a bag of freshly strung hopes. She carried the expectations of a country that has learned to watch her closely, to believe early, and sometimes to dream faster than time allows. Every forehand she struck seemed to echo back across the Pacific, landing in living rooms, on phone screens, and in the imaginations of young players who saw in her a future that felt suddenly reachable. The semi-final promised confirmation. A final would have meant validation, proof that the long hours, the academy mornings, the injuries, the losses on quieter courts had all aligned into something undeniable. Tennis, however, is not a sport that rewards intention. It rewards execution, and even then, only momentarily. From the first game, Eala looked composed, alert, alive to the rhythm of the match. Her footwork was sharp, her backhand clean, her mind visibly working through each point like a chess problem with moving pieces. There were flashes, those unmistakable moments when her timing felt perfect and the ball came off her strings as if it had been waiting all day for that precise contact. But semifinals are made of thin margins. A serve that missed its corner by inches. A return that clipped the tape and fell back instead of forward. A point constructed patiently, only to unravel with a single rush decision. Tennis does not announce its turning points with drama. It hides them inside ordinary-looking mistakes. As the match stretched on, pressure settled into the court like humidity. The rallies grew heavier, longer, more physical. The scoreboard tightened. Eala fought, adjusted, tried to impose her patterns, but the match refused to bend completely her way. Each time she reached for momentum, it slipped free, leaving behind the quiet frustration that only athletes know, the feeling of being close enough to touch success but not close enough to hold it. When the final point ended, it wasn't heartbreak that defined the moment. It was stillness. Eala stood at the baseline, eyes fixed on the court she had shared so fiercely just moments before. The applause rose, respectful, genuine, understanding. This was not a loss that diminished her. It was a loss that asked her a question. What will you do with this? The phrase blew her chance feels harsh, almost careless, as if opportunity is a fragile thing that breaks the first time it's dropped. But chances in tennis are not glass. They're muscle. They return stronger when worked, when tested, when pushed to failure and rebuilt. This semi-final loss did not erase what Eala had done in Auckland. It clarified it. She had proven she could stand on a WTA stage not as a curiosity, not as a hopeful junior, but as a competitor who belonged. She absorbed the pace. She handled the nerves. She faced the weight of expectation and did not disappear under it. That matters more than a final appearance written neatly into a draw sheet. For Filipino tennis, the moment carried a familiar ache. The longing for a breakthrough is old, persistent, and deeply emotional. Each tournament feels like it could be the one. Each near miss stings with collective disappointment. But progress rarely announces itself with fireworks. More often, it arrives quietly, disguised as a loss that teaches more than a win ever could. In the locker room afterward, away from cameras and commentary, Eala would have replayed the match in fragments. The missed return. The break point that slipped away. The shot she might have chosen differently. This is the unseen work of growth, the private reckoning where athletes learn who they are under pressure. And she will move on because she always does. The tour does not pause for reflection. Another tournament waits. Another draw. Another court under different skies. What Eala carries forward from Auckland will not be the disappointment alone, but the understanding that she is close. Close enough to taste it. Close enough to feel the weight of expectation tighten around her swing. The semifinal loss at the ASB Classic will be remembered as a moment when advancement slipped away. But in the longer arc of her career, it may stand as something else entirely, the match that revealed how narrow the distance truly is between promise and arrival. In tennis, greatness is built not on the days you win easily, but on the nights you lose honestly. Eala lost in the semifinals in Auckland. She also gained something harder to measure, a sharper edge to her ambition, a clearer map of what remains to be done, and the quiet certainty that she belongs exactly where the pressure is highest.